So in this video, I'm going to explain you the code part of the library management system. I'm going to give you a very high level view of this because if I start explaining line by line, it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of videos just to cover few of the things. So I'm going to give you a very high level view of the library management system, the functions, the modules, everything. And if you have not watched the previous videos, I do encourage you, please go and watch the previous videos before watching this one. So hey guys, this is Biswajit and welcome back to my YouTube channel, and let's start with the video. This is the starting point of our program. Okay, so I am outside of my VDI, I should say virtualization. Anyways, that doesn't matter. So this is inside the script. These are the scripts that I'm going to explain, and this is the data. Okay, I have opened this particular folder in my VS Code. Okay, so I'll close this. Okay, I hope you guys know how to open this. Just Control C, come to File, come to Open Folder, Control V, press Enter, select Folder, and done. That's it. Now I'll explain you the code part. So this is main.py. This is the starting point of our program. I should, if I close this, so I hope you guys know what this particular line does. Okay, this makes sure that our main function is only being called by us from the terminal directly. No other module should call our main function. Okay, and this create files and folder makes sure that it creates all the files and directories before even we start the program. Okay, so I have shown you in my previous video that when we delete the data folder, it automatically got created again. So this particular function, okay, it creates the files and folders. Okay, it's presented over here. I'm just calling this particular function over here. Before starting the program, I'm just calling it so that we don't get any issue with files and folders, no exceptions or anything. So now I'm starting with the module. This is the starting part. Okay, we are having like 291 lines of code, and I'll start. So this particular is the starting function where the actual module starts. Now you can see there are few counters. These two counters help in like the authentication part. Like if you are doing multiple wrong authentication, so this will make sure that you are not supposed to do more than 5 wrong authentication. Okay, so I demonstrated these things in my videos. If you have not watched, I highly recommend go and watch them. So here I have these are the student login, student register. These are the modules, particular modules. Okay, and I have used the match choice. Okay, I have made a video on this, that we have something called as a match choice in Python, which is similar to switch case in Java or C. Okay, so now in case 1, this is the case 1. This handles the student login part. Okay, so like I am using PW input. This is something I wanted to talk about. So PW input is the one which helps us in making sure that when you enter your password, it's like XXX in that format. It just makes it cooler. So PW input is a external module. You have to download it. Okay, it does not come inbuilt with Python. So this is PW input. I hope you guys know how to install it. I'll show you the library. So it's very simple. PW input. Okay, if you come to here, this is the particular library. Okay, PW input. Just copy and just install it in your particular environment. Okay, so this is PW input. If you guys don't know how to do it, I'll still show you. Okay, so first I will come and open in terminal. Okay, activate your environment, conda env list. Okay, this is a different environment, by the way. Conda activate correct only. Control V. Okay, now if I do pip list, so we have PW input. Just make sure your environment is activated. Okay, and now you can come over here, copy this, come over here and paste it. Okay, you can do right click and it will get pasted, and that's it. Just press enter and it will be installed. Okay, I'm not doing it again. If you face any issue, don't hesitate to ping me in the comment section. Now in pw input, after that, after our password is and everything is entered, I am just making sure that what user enters is correct or not. Okay, so this particular thing handles our student login. Okay, here I'm trying to authenticate the student. Okay, every function that you see, it is either present in main.py, okay, or it is present in main.helper. Fine, I have used two files, main and main_helper. These two files, since main was getting very heavy, so I have put some functionalities in main_helper. Okay, so this authentication part is present in main.helper. Okay, main.helper authentication, yeah, student authentication. This helps us in authenticating, and that's it. That's I hope you guys will be able to understand this high level view. So also we have the student option. Okay, now once you're authenticated, you will be pushed into the student option, which will come on. So anyways, this part handles the student login. Okay, this part handles the student register. Okay, there is nothing much, like nothing much to explain it over here. Like I am just taking the input and I am just checking whether my password are matching or not. If they are not matching, I am just breaking out from the program. I'm checking whether the user has entered valid details or not. By the way, valid means if I don't give any name, if I don't give any password, like if it is empty, I consider that as an invalid. Okay, now I'm just creating as to if all the details are correct during the student register, and if everything is correct, I am just creating in the student object. This create ID helps us in creating an ID. Now we also have this case 3. Now by the way, this ID, it got created, this thing's present in main.helper create ID. Okay, and now we have the saved student. This is saving the student in the database. Now this saved student is present in main.helper save student. Now this is calling our database object, right? So now we have the case 3, this is the librarian part. Okay, and we have case 4, this is the librarian register part. Okay, and if I close this main.helper part and this start part, we'll come to the student options. So here I am just taking the input from the user, like I'm just asking them the whether you want to view book, whether you want to borrow, return, compute, register, okay, all the student functionalities, and I'm just calling them one by one. See, case 1, case 2, case 3, case 4, case 5, I'm just calling them. That's it. Nothing much. If I close this, if I come to librarian, okay, here also I'm doing the same thing. All the librarian functionalities like view book, add book, update book, and remove book. That's it. That's all. So I've explained you this. I've explained you this. I have explained you this. Create files and folders. I have also said that this helps in creating files and folders. So I have explained this part also. So there is another file called as main_helper. So our main was getting heavy, so I put some functionalities over here. I have also made written comments that if you want to check, you can check. So like this is used to get the last student ID. Okay, for example, when we are entering our student in the database, like when we are registering a new student, so you have to get the last ID of the student, right? So this helps us in getting the last ID that was entered. Now also we can save the student, we can do the authentication. This method is used to generate the student ID. Okay, this is used to get the last ID, and this is used to create the new ID. Now and for the librarian also I have done that. Like this is used to save the librarian in the database. Now our main.helper doesn't touch the database. It calls the database object, and our database object is the only one who is allowed to touch the database. By database I means these files, these data files. Okay, Now this is handled by the save librarian, the save part. Now we have the librarian authentication, pretty self-explanatory, helps to authenticate the librarian, and this is used to generate the librarian ID. Now if I close this to, if I come in books.py, okay, so this is pretty simple. I hope you guys know the meaning of underscore str. Okay, if you don't know, ping me in the comment section. I might make a video. So this is very nice thing in Python. So for example, if you want to print your object, if you just do print and your object, okay, it will give you some kind of address and stuff. Okay, so not address, I should say. It will give you your class name and something that is not much relevant, like something that is not user readable. So if you use underscore str, and if you if you print your object now, anytime you print book, in this case, anytime I print book, it print all of these details. So this is like a thing that I am doing it. Okay, so if you want a video on str, I'll make. Okay, even though I might make it in the future. So this is the books part. There are no functions over here, no functions, because the book is just an object. Okay, I have not given any functionality. This is a special function. Okay, this is not a object function. This is a special function. Okay, so I'm not considering it as a function of the book. Okay, it's a special function. Now here you can see we have the book ID, book name, author, publisher date, available status, then the number of book copies, borrow date. Okay, so all these properties are present, and I am just assigning the values to all these properties. That's it. Okay, so this is the book.py. Now I will come with the database.py, something that I will touch later. I'll come with the student.py. So here you can see this is the init. So init is also a special function. Okay, so I'm just creating an object of the student using this function. Okay, so init is a constructor, and these are the functions that our student is allowed to do. For example, he or she can view book, they can borrow book, they can return book, they can check for fines, they can deregister, and again I have used that str functionality, underscore str. So anytime if you print the student, okay, you will get this. Anytime you print the student, you won't get anything like a student class name dot something something. Okay, it will print a proper data on your face, I should say, on the screen, not on your face, on the screen. Now we have, these are the functions that our student can perform. Okay, now I'll come to the librarian part. Okay, this is the librarian part. So it's very simple. Like he or she can view books, he or she can add books, he or she can update book, remove book. Okay, and like if I open any of this functionality, for example update one, okay, so these are the update part. Okay, I hope you guys will be able to understand. But yeah, just giving a very high level view. So this is the update part. Now I have explained you the student part, I have explained you the librarian part. Now if I come to the now the heavy module, that is a database.py. Now by the way, if I open the student.py once over here, for example, if I open view book, now there is nothing much actually. Just I'm creating a database object. Okay, and I'm just calling the database object. Okay, and in borrow part also there is nothing much. If you check, these are like only printing. I'm not doing anything much, just printing it. The main part is only this few function calls, only few function calls, that's it. So borrow book, I'm just creating a database object, and I am just for example, I am just showing what are the books that are present that you want to borrow, and in that I am asking the details. Okay, and then I am just borrowing that particular book for that particular user. Okay, so there is nothing much, only the heavy part, like this printing is the only thing that is taking a huge number of lines. That's it. There is nothing much that is going on. So now if I close this, if I come to the most heavy module, that is the database module. Now this handles everything: can say like almost like it's almost like 445 lines, but this is the only one that handles everything. Yeah, there are many functionalities I can understand, but this is the only file that is touching the database, that is touching all the files. These files, by files I mean this part. Now everything this is handling, like this database pi is handling all of it, all this borrows, the transactions, the book, the library and the student, everything. Like most of the logic is written over here, like 90% of the logic is presented over here. Now for example, as I showed that this, even I put comments on every function. Okay, I'll just give a very high level view. So this is used to view book, this is used to view and select book. Okay, even I have made the functions, written function in such a way that you are able to understand. Now print it means this will print all the book details. Okay, anytime like this is used internally, like when you are viewing any book. Okay, so this handles that viewing part. Okay, now we also have this view books, even this also handles the view part. Okay, there are very various views part. Okay, for example, this is a module where the program is not only going to show you, it is not only going to show you the books, but it is also will ask you to enter the book ID. For example, in case of borrow. Okay, so there are some few functions that are little bit similar but also the different, like view books and here view and select books. The select part is a little bit different. Now authenticate, this is used to authenticate the student. Okay, this is the only file that is touching the database, that is student.csv. Fine. Now I am also using the fetch last student ID. This is the only module that is touching the database and getting the ID for us. Okay, now I have also used try except everything so that our code doesn't fail in case of if the data is not present. Now this is used to save the student, this is used to borrow a particular book, this is used to update the borrow file. Borrow file means this particular file. Okay, this particular files handles every book that we have borrowed. Okay, if a book is returned, that particular entry is removed. For example, if I open it, maybe I can open it with Excel or I can open with Notepad. Yeah, now it's pretty good. So this is this is the file, the borrow part. Okay, this handles all the borrows. Okay, this handles all the borrows. Now for example, if you are returning a book, this particular book you are returning. Okay, then this particular transaction will be removed. Any book you return, one transaction will be removed. Like it happens like that. Like for example, this particular student is returning this particular book. Okay, so if you want to return this particular book, so this particular transaction will be removed. So this borrow part handle all the transactions that we have taken, not all the transactions, all the borrows that we have done. Any book is returned, one entry is removed from the borrow. Okay, now now we have the return book. Okay, to return a particular book, and this is the fetch last transaction ID. Okay, something some different transactions ID I am using it, some different functions I'm using it. Okay, so just to get it last transaction ID. Okay, because we are having a transaction file, right? We're having a transaction file over here. If I open it with anything, okay, if I open it with Notepad, so you can see we are having transaction, right? So anytime if you do any kind of transaction, it is generating this ID like 168, 169, 173, 174. Anytime you are doing any kind of transaction, it is generating this ID. So how this ID is generated? Okay, that is handled by this fetch last transaction ID. It is getting the last transaction ID. There is another function, okay, which is like create transaction ID. Yeah. So this too handles the transaction ID part. Okay, now we have the get current date. As the name suggests, it is used to get the current date. For example, if you are borrowing a book, it checks like but it checks that what is the current date, and it saves it, it uses it. And if you are returning a book, it checks when you have borrowed, when you have returned, how much is the fine. Like this is just the function to get the current date, that's it. Like there are only two lines, right? Now, write to transaction and borrow file, as the name suggests, this function is going to change, like it is going to update your transaction file and your borrow file. Okay. And this is the create transaction ID. I have already explained about this. Then get all borrowed books, as the name suggests, it is used to list out all the books that a particular user has borrowed. Now, deregister, it is used to deregister or remove a particular student. This is the fetch last librarian ID. Okay, so if you are registering a new librarian, you are generating new IDs, right, every time. So this is used to get the librarian ID. Okay, this is used to save the librarian. This is used to authenticate the librarian. Authenticate by means that it is actually, this is the only function which actually opens your librarian.csv file and checks whether your ID and password are matching or not. Okay. Now, this is used to get the last book ID. For example, if you want to add a new book, that time also you have to generate the ID, right? So this is used to get the last book ID. Now, this is used to save our book. This is used to update our book. This is used to remove the book. So these are the few things that, like, these are all the functionalities that are present. Now, our database part is the most heavy part, definitely, because I have put as much functionalities as I could. I could have added more functionalities, but I thought that anyone who is doing a library management system and who is not using any interface or anything, maybe they are like starting out with like they learned Python and just starting out. So I have kept it simple. Even I still feel that this is a little bit more, like I have added more functionalities, but I think this is fine. This is just fine. Now database.py is explained. I have explained you book.py, I have explained you database.py, I have explained you the librarian.py, I have explained you main underscore helper and main.py, and also the student.py. Okay, so everything I have explained you on a very high level. Okay, if I try explaining you in like one line by line, then like I won't be able to finish, because as I like every time I showed you, like this is like almost 190 lines of code. Okay, and in main also I have good amount of lines. Okay, so I won't make this much complicated. So this is the whole library management system. The source code is present in my Git repo. If you have not accessed it, I do recommend you to access it. I have made videos on CSV module. If you have not watched that, do watch it. Okay, it is going to help you a lot. Even I also learned a lot while using the CSV module. So that's it for this video. I will keep the video short. Still 24 minutes is still long. Okay, I have to trim it down to 20 minutes. I'll see how that goes. But that's it for this video. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to press that like button. And as always, I'm going to see you in an upcoming awesome video.